the tremendous rise and surge of individuals coming to the border, wouldn't it be fair to call it a crisis? Because that's what your agents are calling it.
Mr. Ranking Member, I'm not spending any time on the language that we use.
This administration has a border policy. Can you succinctly say what that policy is as it relates to the border?
Congresswoman, the border is secure and the border is not open.
The border is secure and the border is not open. Really? That was DHS Secretary Mayorkas earlier today, still refusing to call what's happening at our southern border a crisis. Well, our next guest strongly disagrees. Julio Rosas, senior writer for townhall.com. He just left the border town of McAllen, Texas. He joins us now to tell us what he saw over a whole week down there. Julio, let's start with this. Is this a crisis?
Yes, Buck, it absolutely is a crisis, and it's that for a number of reasons. Number one is just the massive numbers of illegal immigrants crossing into the United States in a 24-hour period, and that increase has been ongoing since around April of last year. However, we've seen just a dramatic increase since January, and obviously one of the main factors that has changed since January is President Biden. And so the issue is that we're seeing the effects of this administration's open border rhetoric and policies, because remember, during the campaign, he was saying no deportations for 100 days. He was going to end remain in Mexico, and he's followed through on some of that. And so Friday night, for example, in a span of only 3 hours, I saw 263 illegal immigrants crossing the Rio Grande and handing themselves over to Customs and to Border Patrol. And that was only 3 hours, and that in the span of about 10 hours, that number was about 700. And that was only one sector for the entire border. So clearly this is not slowing down.
Are they mostly, I mean, can you give us some sense? We're seeing some photos that I know you took down to the border here. It looks like a mix. There are adult males, there are family units, there are children. I mean, is there some profile of who's, the dominant profile of who's coming across, or is it a total mix of different age demographics and gender demographic, or gender difference?
So from what I've seen, it does seem to be comprised of people claiming to be in family units. We do know that there is some trafficking with people claiming that they're their parents when they're not. But there's also unaccompanied minors. And probably the youngest unaccompanied minor that I saw she was 8 years old. And she, I believe,
you saw an 8-year-old girl crossing alone at the border?
She was in a group, but she wasn't. She didn't have her parent or any legal guardian with her. So that's kind of the issue that we're seeing, is that this influx that we're seeing, again, being incentivized by the Biden administration. It's just we're seeing cases where there's kids as young as 8. There was other 10-year-olds, 12-year-olds, 16-year-olds who were there crossing and making this very dangerous journey without their parents or any significant other in their family, and they're in the hands of complete and total strangers. And so that's again the issue when we have this incentivization going on, because then the number of these very, very at-risk groups are increased. And obviously the cartels who do partake in human trafficking, they're making more money now than they were previously, because not only they're making money on the narcotics that they're smuggling, but now they got a bigger customer base that is willing to pay them to come into the country, because they feel that their investment is going to have a much better chance at being able to stay in the United States as opposed to being deported right away.
Were you able to get some sense of what of the people who were crossing, and when you're talking about just walking across the border is illegal? I think people need to remember that it's not allowed to just walk from Mexico to the United States. You have to go to port of entry. People are walking across the border. What percentage of the people that are doing this are released in the American interior after processing? Do we have some sense of that?
Yes. So we know that they're not deporting family units and unaccompanied minors in as numbers as they did previously under the Trump administration. Now, in terms of numbers, it is a little bit hard to ascertain, just because, and this is a broader issue, the Biden administration, it has really clamped down on transparency, whether it's the numbers or the facilities that the unaccompanied minors are in, and that's because they don't want the bad imagery, since these facilities are way overcrowded. They're way over capacity, and that's just because they can't process them fast enough because they just keep coming every single day.
Hey Team Buck, thanks so much for watching The First on YouTube. If you liked the video, click that little thumbs up button. And if you want to see more great content from The First, please click subscribe.